What's up, football fans? Welcome back to my channel where I talk about anything and everything football related. Today we're going to recap some of the top commitments that have happened this past week in college football. Let's start off with the Miami Hurricanes landing one of the top edge rushers in the class with Marquise Lightfoot committing Monday morning. Lightfoot is a 6'5", 220-pound edge rusher out of Chicago, Illinois, and is viewed as one of the top 75 recruits in the 2024 class according to 24/7 Sports composite ranking. Last season he recorded over 120 tackles and 9 sacks for Kenwood High School. He is now Miami's highest rated recruit in their 2024 class. The Hurricanes have a lot of talent committed in their secondary, but Lightfoot is only their second defensive lineman in this class so far. He joins 3-star defensive lineman Dalen Russell, who committed back in May. The Hurricanes added guys like Ruben Bain and Jaden Wayne in the last cycle to join Leonard Taylor along the defensive line. Bringing in someone like Marquise Lightfoot will help this defensive line stay stocked with talent and allow bodies to always stay fresh. We've seen with Georgia just how important being able to rotate your defensive lineman can be, especially when there's little to no talent drop off at all when doing so. Ironically, right after the Hurricanes just got done bringing in an elite Midwest recruit, the Michigan Wolverines would convince a Miami kid to come up north to them. 4-star edge rusher Elias Rudolph out of Deerfield Beach High School would announce he would be committing to the Wolverines Monday evening. Even though he's originally from Ohio, he's recently transferred down to Deerfield Beach. Last season, Rudolph recorded 87 tackles and 17.5 sacks for Taft High School. The Wolverines have been stacking up on the front seven the past couple weeks, bulking up their number 4 overall recruiting class. Elias joins a wave of defenders including Dominic Nichols, Jeremiah Beasley, and Mason Curtis, who have all recently committed to Michigan. The Georgia Bulldogs have a strong grip on the number 1 class for this cycle, but the race from 2nd to 7th is still very tight. The Wolverines are a point underneath the red-hot Florida team, and are still in the race for guys like Bennett Warren and Aaron Scott. If they can continue to add to this group of already 25 recruits, this would be one of the best classes Michigan's ever had. July 4th was full of fireworks, not just in the sky but along the recruiting trail as well. Starting things off, we had 4-star tight end Kylan Fox announcing his commitment to UCF. Kylan is a 4-star athlete for Georgia powerhouse Grayson High School and plays both tight end and defensive end for the Rams. Last season, he caught 25 passes for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 2 sacks on the defensive side of the ball. His 6'4", 210-pound frame provides a huge target to throw to, and he still has a ton of room to grow as well. Florida State seemed to be the school to beat, but UCF was able to close the deal on the Loganville native. Schools like Colorado and Georgia Tech were also heavily interested in his talents. According to 24/7 Sports, Fox is the 4th best recruit the Golden Knights have gotten in the modern recruiting era. He will join fellow Grayson teammate Walclair Flynn Jr., who is currently the 6th best recruit in school history himself. This is a huge class coming in for UCF and will likely continue to turn heads. Stacey Gage is another recruit that is currently committed and in the Golden Knights' top 10 recruits of all time. Staying in Florida, the Seminoles pulled one of Maryland's top recruits with the commitment of Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is a 4-star wide receiver out of Olney, Maryland, and is the number 11 recruit in the state according to 24/7 Sports. Coming in at 6'5", 200 pounds, he has very rare size for a high school wide receiver and has terrific route running ability for his size. I wouldn't be shocked to see Elijah Moore rise up the rankings throughout his senior year. His commitment gives the Seminoles a great assortment of wide receivers for their 2024 class. 5-star tight end Landon Thomas is obviously the headliner, but they also have another top 50 recruit in running back Cameron Davis. Ohio State was really the only other school in the mix, but Florida State was able to take him down to Tallahassee. Arizona State has gone into Texas and added yet another high-end defensive back to their 2024 class. Tuesday evening, it was announced that cornerback Chris Johnson Jr. will be committing to the Sun Devils. Chris Johnson is a 4-star cornerback out of Olito, Texas, and is a top 100 recruit in the state. He plays for the 11-time state champions Olito High School alongside elite recruits like Devon Keys and Jaden Allen. Johnson chose Arizona State over schools like Boston College, Arkansas, and Duke. Rashad Samples and Brian Carrington have immediately left their mark at Arizona State. He joins other Texas defensive backs like Tony Nkuba and Rodney Bimage. Sticking in the Lone Star State, the Kansas Jayhawks landed their highest rated recruit in program history Tuesday evening. Katy, Texas product Dakyus Brinkley announced his commitment to the Jayhawks over schools like SMU, Baylor, and Kansas State. Dakyus is a 4-star edge rusher for Katy High School and a top 25 edge rusher in the class. Last season, Brinkley recorded 47 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks for Seven Lakes High School before transferring to Katy High. He is son of former South Carolina and Minnesota Vikings linebacker Jasper Brinkley. Last season, Brinkley recorded 47 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks, helping Katy to a 6A state semifinal appearance. He passes up Kansas legend Puka Williams and Jaquiz Crawford, according to the 24/7 Sports composite database. He joins other recruits like Austin Alexander, Damani Maxon, and Jalen Todd, who are some of the best recruits Kansas has landed in over a decade. Hearing all that, I don't think you'd be too surprised to know this is the Jayhawks' best recruiting class since 2010. After coming off a solid 2022 season, it looks like Kansas is ready to make that a consistent effort. I'll be talking more in depth about Georgia's wave of recruitments in a separate video, so I'm not going to spend too long on this commitment, but on Wednesday, Georgia added yet another top recruit to their already #1 ranked recruiting class. Four-star offensive tackle Daniel Calhoun announced that he'd be committing to Georgia over schools like Texas, Auburn, and Alabama. Calhoun is the #4 offensive tackle in the nation according to 24/7 Sports and the 13th overall recruit in Georgia. He joins a star-studded class featuring 3 5-stars and other offensive linemen like Michael Uni and Marcus Harrison. His commitment stretches their lead over Ohio State even more for the #1 class in the 2024 cycle. Calhoun said the way Georgia develops its players, specifically the offensive tackles, is one of the reasons why he picked the Bulldogs. Coming in at 6'6", 360 pounds, Daniel is already the size you'd like to see in an SEC offensive tackle. The Arizona Wildcats had a historic commitment Thursday evening, landing one of the top edge rushers in the nation. Elijah Rushing is a 5-star edge rusher out of Tucson, Arizona, and is currently ranked as the #1 edge rusher in the class of 2024 according to 24/7 Sports. He is also the highest ranked recruit to ever commit to Arizona and the first 5-star they've ever gotten at that. Rushing plays for South Point Catholic High School, which is known for producing some of the best talent in the Tucson area. He plays alongside another Arizona commit and 3-star defensive lineman Keanu Willite, who is a top 12 recruit in the state himself. Last season, Elijah recorded over 70 tackles, 13.5 for a loss, 11.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. Elijah's older brother, Cruz Rushing, recently transferred from Florida back home to the Arizona Wildcats, which made a big impact on his commitment. He also said he wants to help put Tucson on the map and that the city doesn't get the love that it deserves. Schools like Notre Dame, Oregon, and Tennessee were all recruiting him heavily, but the Wildcats were able to fight them off and keep Elijah home. The Oregon Ducks were able to fight off Mel Tucker in Michigan State for 4-star linebacker Dylan Williams, who announced his commitment Friday. Dylan Williams is a 6'2", 210-pound linebacker and rated as high as the #4 overall linebacker by Rivals. He plays at Long Beach Poly in Long Beach, California, and holds over 30 offers. Last season, he recorded 79 tackles, 25.5 tackles for a loss, 7 pass breakups, 4.5 sacks, and 1 interception. Williams said after his commitment, "If you want to play defense and stay on the West Coast, you go to Oregon. It's that simple." He joins an Oregon class that is neck and neck with schools like Penn State, USC, and Notre Dame to crack into the top 5 recruiting classes for this cycle. The Longhorns landed one of the top athletes in the 2024 class Friday evening with the commitment of 4-star athlete Aeryn Hampton. Aeryn plays wide receiver and cornerback for Dangerfield High School and is an elite playmaker on both ends. Over the past 2 seasons, he's put up over 2,100 receiving yards and 25 touchdowns and come down with 18 interceptions. This is the second time Hampton has been committed to the Longhorns. In November, he decommitted from Texas to continue his recruitment and visit schools like Alabama and UTSA. Texas has always been his dream school, and after taking time to really think things through, he decided Austin was where he wanted to be. Coach Sark sees ways to use Hampton on both sides of the field and in the return game as well. With as versatile as Aeryn has shown to be, I could see him getting on the field very early in his career. The Stanford Cardinal added yet another top defensive lineman to their 2024 class with the commitment of Bennedict Umeh. Bennedict Umeh is a 4-star defensive lineman from Avon, Connecticut, and is the top recruit in the state according to 24/7 Sports composite ranking. He's originally from Canada and played his first 2 seasons of football there. Umeh was leaning heavily towards Penn State after taking his official visit, but Stanford blew him away and reminded him why this was his dream school as a kid. He was also considering schools like Wisconsin and Duke. He joins top recruits and fellow defensive linemen Naki Tuokoy and Dylan Stevenson, which gives the Cardinal a nasty trio of defensive linemen. This class for Troy Taylor has been one of the best we've ever seen Stanford put together, and it should be fun to see how they use his talent. On Sunday, Alabama gained 2 more commitments in their 2024 class. The first one was rather interesting as 3-star linebacker Justin Okoronkwo announced his commitment. Now that doesn't sound like anything out of the ordinary, but Justin is actually the #2 prospect from Germany. Coming in at 6'3", 225 pounds, Justin is already the size of an SEC linebacker and was clocked running a 4.49 40-yard dash. Okoronkwo was committed to Maryland for quite some time, but after an impressive offseason circuit and offers from Nebraska, South Carolina, and Alabama, he decided it was best to decommit. Being an international prospect, Alabama is the school you always hear about, and he knew that was the place you want to go if you have the opportunity. The second commitment I want to talk about is Zabien Brown announcing his commitment to Alabama. Brown is a 4-star cornerback out of Mater Dei High School and is the #5 overall cornerback according to 24/7 Sports composite ranking. This now gives Alabama 2 of the top 4 recruits in California as Nick Saban continues to flex his recruiting muscles in Cali. It also gives him 3 of the top 20 cornerbacks in the 2024 cycle. Zabien is currently 6 feet, 180 pounds, and recorded 32 tackles, 5 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery last season. He chose Alabama over USC and many other schools. This Alabama recruiting class is finally starting to take shape with 4 of the top 65 recruits already locked in. These 2 commitments jumped Alabama into the top 15 recruiting classes for the 2024 cycle. And as we know, they're going to continue to rise over the next coming months. But that'll do it for this week's recruiting recap. Leave a comment on what teams you want me to cover more of, and if you're a football addict like I am, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more football related content. You can catch some of my other videos right here, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Until then, peace.